I want to give you some idea of some maybe like sample lessons that you can do. So I very, very rarely use manuals. So I'm always trying to gauge what the person's interests are, whether they're stuttering or not. So I'm just going to give you an example. If you're online, of course, there are several things, and I actually have it in the first part of the course, or it might be in the bottom under carryover. And there are like several options on there: Ultimate SLP, Pink Hat Games, Bamboozle, Boom Cards, YouTube, which I use a lot online also. So I usually start when I'm seeing anybody to work on the one word level because my feeling is even if they're not stuttering on the one word level, until they can master it, I can't really move on because stuttering is so hard that I have to make sure that they don't have to kind of think about what they're really saying. So I'm going to give an example. So I use a lot of, when they're younger, we can use things like animal bingo, any kind of superhero matching, any kind of matching at all. And I might start off at the one word level, and it might be pretty basic. And we might label animals: elephant, lion, tiger. Okay, then we might go on to two words. It's a big elephant, actually somewhere between two and four. A big elephant. Who has it? I do. Wow, that was great. Like, I love how you use the, easy onset. If it was hard, I might say, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll say it a little easier. It's an elephant, depending on what we're working on. So I do a lot of like matching, bingo, zingo, with the younger ones. Even Battleship is like a really fun game. B2. Oh, wow, I love it. That was great. I do a lot of positive praise on like, what they say and how wonderful it is. And a lot of the younger ones have comorbid issues with motor speech disorders, motor planning. So I'm like, always, and I am prompts certified also. So, I suggest, always getting them to use a lot of parts of their mouth and also work on their pragmatics also. So I do a lot of that stuff. I also use a lot of these cards from Lakeshore, which I'm sure now are probably online, but I've had them for years. And a lot of them are like, what doesn't belong? And we'll first, name everything on the card. And then we can go into more advanced language. Why doesn't it belong? How can we say that sentence easier? Wow, that was fabulous. It's a cake. It's a white cake. Whose turn is it now? So actually, Lakeshore has a lot of these flashcards. They have a lot of objects. You can find a lot of these now on Teachers, Hey Teachers. Um, I happen to like these a lot even now because they're very colorful. Um, and the kids seem to like it. I think there's also opposites. Yeah, I have the opposites also, and it works a lot. Like, it works on a lot. It works on fluency, vocabulary, language skills. So, I'd like to do things that work on a lot of aspects. When we're getting into more complex, I use a lot of story cubes. Amazon also has tell a story. So whose turn is it? Okay. I see a house. Oh, did you feel that vibration? Did you feel that easing in? Did it feel easy? Did those words come out easy? I personally don't use bumpy a lot. I don't know. I don't find that word really has any meaning. I mean, to me, bumpy is when you're riding in a car. I don't want people to feel that they have bumpy speech. So that's another thing. Also, as they're older, there's something, I mean, there's called train of thought. There's name 5, where you could start asking things like, oh, if you were invisible for a day, where would you go? What is your favorite memory? If you were a superhero, what superpower would you like to be? So I really try not to use like rote phrases, because I don't feel like that's conversational speech, and I don't feel like it's very good for them, and I feel like they're not motivated by it, and it's going to be hard. Not to say that you can never do it, but I would try and, get into their interests more. Ask them what they like. There's a lot online. Animal trivia, sports trivia, would you rather? There's so much. Spot the differences on YouTube also. So, you can spot things differently. Mad Libs is online, or you can write it out. There's a game called Stare, which is actually, I used to do this with my father. We used to go into restaurants or diners, because I'm in the New York area and we have them a lot. And we would like memorize either things on the sugar packet, and we would ask each other questions. So these are cards and we memorize them. And then you could actually ask a lot. Who is pointing the finger? And then if you want to do phrasing, which child is wearing a red hat? How many children are not wearing hats? So it gets you more into conversation. I like this game a lot. There's also Brain Box. You can order from Amazon, which has sports, animals, so a lot that you can do. I use this game also. It's called Sound It. Found it. I use it with the younger ones, but sometimes it's fun to use even with early middle school. What's the sound? Where do you find it? And it's fun. It's colorful. I'll do this also with Where's Waldo. And of course, our all-time favorite. Guess who? One of my favorites. Who's on there? Oh, it's Emma. Oh, what color is her hair? Headbands. Headbands, of course, is one of the favorites. When they get older, it's like I said, there's so much trivia. I mean, I have some teens who we just, read like articles about sports. We read articles about things happening in the world. I have one 16-year-old, who just loves to tell me about coding and robotics. So he actually has initiated that on his own. We actually made a PowerPoint on coding because it was something he had to present. So he practiced with that, and we practice phrasing. So I really, really try and find what they love. There's really a whole list. If I'm doing a group, and in private practice, I only really do one-on-one, but when I worked in a school, we had several groups. So there's just so much you can do. You can take flashcards and you can play Connect Four. You can take flashcards and you can play Trouble. There's so much you can do with Trouble. What color is it? Where is it going? Even Jenga, I'll sometimes take a few Jenga sets and with a marker, I'll write words on it, and I have an easy onset Jenga. I have a Jenga with phrases. So we can work on pausing. I even have a Jenga with P's and B words, which we work on easy and harder sounds. So I want to just give you some ideas. I don't know about you, but I just find if you find things that are interesting, then our students and our young adults are not concentrating so much on what they are saying. And if you're, even doing this with a young adult, then you can do some word lists. You can ask them what sounds they really find easy, what sounds hard. Always work harder to easier. You can even do some short poems online, mystery, some short readings to kind of keep it going. You just want to, keep changing it up because you want them to be motivated. And I find also parents love it if you can give them some ideas how to practice at home. So I think, hopefully these things you will find really helpful. Part of the fun is sometimes looking on Amazon and seeing what they even have. I mean, sometimes I'll use Funko Pop bobbleheads and we'll guess the characters also. So there's just so much you can do. The more you can kind of have fun and encourage, model what you're doing, praise their efforts, the more success you're going to notice. So I hope some of those things helped you.